Roads washed away by mudslides and homes underwater this evening in both West Virginia and Virginia. You're looking at video from Richlands this afternoon. Unfortunately, today's heavy rain has caused flooding in a lot of areas.
And our viewer Andre Kennedy with Appalachian Aerial Photography and Video shared this drone video from Raven, Virginia, and you can see the water is on the rise. This just in, Virginia has declared a state of emergency. We begin that team coverage with Chief Meteorologist Catherine Thompson, who's been tracking this weather event here in the studio.
Hey there, guys. That's exactly right. The flood threat will continue as we head into tonight, and this is what we're really concerned about. The rain has actually started to lighten up, the heavy stuff now pushing into the Piedmont of Virginia, but the runoff, it's been raining for a while, so the runoff in the tributaries still going into the rivers, and that's why we're worried about the flood threat continuing, even though the rain has started to let up a bit. Conditions, as we mentioned earlier, also very bad across the entirety of Tazewell County. And right now, Brandon Lawson is live in Richlands. Brandon, what can you tell us about what's going on?
Just some very devastating scenes here, Catherine. This is on Virginia Avenue in Richlands. This is East 1st Street here, absolutely flooded over. A state police tactical team actually just launched their boat into this. They're actually rescuing people from that, about the 5th residence down in that kind of that white home in there. It's one of the smaller ones there. They're actually rescuing a couple from that home. The boat's just sitting out there. I think they just got out of the boat to go rescue those folks as we go into the overnight hours. And we might not even see a crest for the Clinch River until we go into tomorrow morning. And matter of fact, I think they're actually rescuing people right now. I think they're getting ready to come back out here. You can actually see there they are on the boat. They're about to pull out. I think they're rescuing some folks there. Yeah, I could see some folks. They actually just rescued them right there. Here's the family that just got out of that home. They're getting ready to come back on here after rescuing those folks there on that boat. Just some devastating scenes here with this flooding that we're seeing going across our area. But again, this is in Richlands off of Virginia Avenue on 1st Street. You can see the state police tactical unit that is coming up with this family right now. They're trying to, looks like some very dangerous situations going on here on the road. And let you guys watch this kind of unfold as they continue to push towards our area. But just a sad scene, a very safe, just a very, very dangerous situation.
This is Route 16, okay, goes toward Pineville. This thing, it overtook the flood wall about an hour ago. The pumps can't keep up with it. It's coming so fast. So we just about 10, 15 minutes ago, we had to stop letting vehicles go through at all. So everybody's just stranded right at the moment.
The underpass toward Pineville and the underpass toward Yeager are completely shut down. It's behind the Kimball Food Bank. Normally you don't see this here. What you're seeing right here behind the food bank?
No, usually maybe a week or two ago, this was just like rocks because the water level is low. But I've worked many floods in the county. You can smell the flood. I can smell it. You probably can't. I don't know. But this is, it's just, you can see from 8 o'clock this morning, it's coming up.
Meanwhile, back in the heart of downtown Welch. And this is about as far as I can go down these steps. You can see Martha Moore Riverfront Park completely flooded. Within walking distance, a landlord rushes to check on her tenants.
And right now I have some elderly tenants and that they're concerned that the water may get in the building. So I came to check on them and naturally it scares me because they would be homeless if they get flooded.
Here for you, Joshua Bolden, Wvva News.
Miscarriage, it happens to an astounding 1 in 4 women, and early infant loss, 1 in 250 women. For generations, these issues have been hidden in the shadows. But tonight, we're shining a new light on the issue with the women who share their stories. Why is this a cause so close to your heart?
It's a cause that's close to my heart because I lost my daughter Harmony 5 years ago, and there were no resources in Raleigh County. There were no support groups, and I needed to find other ladies to talk to. I was struggling mentally, physically, spiritually.
To recognize and to come to terms with the fact that this was happening and that I was going to have to say goodbye, and it allowed me the time to do that.
This is a WVVA News special, Facts Not Fear, in the 2 Virginias, answering your questions about the coronavirus.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I am Martin Staunton.
And I'm Melinda Zosh. Coronavirus cases worldwide now top 200,000 as countries increasingly tighten or close borders and grapple with how to best slow the spread of the virus.
That's right. There have been 1,278 people tested in Virginia, with 77 confirmed cases in the Commonwealth. In West Virginia, that number for people tested is at 137. We just found out about our first confirmed case. So tonight, we're hosting this 30-minute special titled Facts or Fear. We have a panel of 3 medical experts to answer your questions.
Joining us tonight are our panel of guests, as Martin said, Dr. Dirk Stanley, medical doctor at Bluefield Regional Medical Center, Dr. Nancy Lohays, clinical director of primary care at Princeton Community Hospital, and also Mark Pickett, emergency management director at Princeton Community Hospital. We'd like to thank our guests for joining us tonight.
Good afternoon. I'm Joshua Bolden. We have some breaking news to get to this afternoon. Emergency crews have responded to an explosion in the city of Bluefield. WVVA's Jade Burks is on scene. Jade, what more information do you have for us?
Hey there, Joshua. Like you said, I'm here on the 400 block of Bland Street, where first responders are on the scene of an underground explosion. I'm going to step out of the way here so you can kind of see what's going on behind me. First responders were dispatched, like I said, to the scene of an underground explosion, and while they were on the scene, 2 more explosions occurred once they arrived. They tell me that the cause is unknown, but right now it is determined to be electrical because there are underground power lines and transformers in this area of downtown Bluefield. AEP is on the scene to try to isolate the power and make sure that there are no further problems when it comes to those issues. The buildings here have been evacuated. Up where you see the Bluefield Arts Center, the buildings in that area have been evacuated. The buildings where I'm standing are vacant, so there aren't really issues here. There are no reports of injuries or damage yet, but first responders aren't in the buildings right now because they are still trying to isolate the power. But as of right now, there have been no injuries, or reports of injuries, I should say, or damage.
WVVA's Football Friday starts now.
When I say fresh, we don't mess around here at WVVA. Both Mason and I got haircuts today just to look this goofy on TV. Right, Mason?
Oh, look at the fresh cuts for your boys right now. Look good, feel good, play good.
I'm not, challenges are something that I enjoy taking on.
And I'll be wearing this one Saturday.
Give it up for Jean-Julien Rocher.
Philadelphia, the top seed, actually getting upset.
We're grateful to Major League Baseball for preserving this this tradition and for following through on their commitment to keep baseball in our community.
This is a WVVA News Special, the West Virginia Democratic Gubernatorial Debate with Stephen Smith, Ben Salango, and Ron Stallings. Live from WVVA Studios with your host and moderator, Martin Staunton.
Good evening and welcome to our Democratic gubernatorial debate.
But after this pandemic subsides, we need a leader who can step up and rebuild our economy. We need a leader who can step up and rebuild our workforce. We need a governor who actually wants this job rather than the title.
I'm running for governor because West Virginia families are struggling and hurting, and I love West Virginia and its people.
All across West Virginia tonight, our people are sick to their stomachs. We're worried for our friends and neighbors who might catch the virus or lose a job. We're worried for our kids and the world we're leaving them. We're worried for our neighbors who are going without.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Melinda Zosh.
And I am Martin Staunton. We'll get right to our live coverage of local returns in the 2 Virginias.
Good evening, Martin. Yeah, we're here at the War Museum, which is one of many polling places in Mercer County. As you can see behind me, not a line here, not too many people we've seen so far. Seen a few stragglers come to get their vote in just about an hour and a half before the polls close this evening.
One of the races we're going to be watching closely tonight is the race for Raleigh County Magistrate. Now, this is the second time this year this race has been up for election. So you might be asking, well, how does that happen? And the answer is the winner during the May primary, incumbent Steve Massey, elected not to take the seat. He was in the midst of an ethics investigation at the time.
I'm still here in Bluefield, Virginia, where people are still turning out for voting tonight here in Tazewell County. Now, we do want to talk about some of the main topics that will be casted on that ballot tonight, and one of those is the Confederate Monument statue. Now, there is an advisory referendum on the relocation of the Confederate Soldier Monument. Voters have the opportunity to vote the Tazewell County Board of Supervisors if they want to relocate that monument from the courthouse or leave it left in front of the courthouse.
Few people still trickling in. I don't know if you caught that last person that just walked in. I'm seeing a lot more than I did at 5 o'clock. But, you know, there is still time to vote if you haven't. That voting doesn't end until 7:30. These polls will be open. And if you're in line, they cannot deny you your right to vote if you're here by 7:30.
New at noon, a press conference took place this morning regarding new developments in the case of a nearly 40-year-old cold case in Beckley. This involving the murder of Cynthia Miller. Annie Moore was at that conference and has more. Hey, Annie.
Hey, Josh, I'm standing here with Raleigh County Prosecuting Attorney Kristen Keller. Detectives have just solved one of the oldest cases in Raleigh County history, the case of Cynthia Miller in 1981. What all went into this?
This investigation was one that began as soon as Ms. Miller was murdered in August of '81 and has continued throughout these 40 years and finally has been solved with the assistance of all of the detectives from the very beginning up until the present, Detective Morgan Bragg of the Beckley Police Department and Lieutenant Tim Bledsoe of the West Virginia State Police.
What's the next step in this case?
The defendant is a resident in custody in California, so the next process is what's called the filing of a detainer, so that he's held, and then we bring him back for Raleigh County proceedings. In addition to the murder of Miss Miller, in the course of their investigation, the defendant now also has been indicted for the first-degree sexual assault and abduction and kidnapping of a minor child that occurred a little less than a year before Cynthia Miller's murder here in Raleigh County.
We begin with grim news out of Greenbrier County after 5 children, possibly 6, die in a house fire. We have team coverage beginning with what we know about the deadly fire. Our Maria Sellers is standing by live with that story. Maria?
Melinda, I am just outside the Williamsburg Volunteer Fire Department, one of 9 fire departments that responded to the deadly fire on Flynn's Creek Road, just a few miles from where I'm standing.
And the children killed in the fire near Williamsburg attended Greenbrier County schools. That school system is taking steps to help the victims' classmates deal with the grief.
And today we spoke with the Greenbrier Board of Education as to what services will be provided for those mourning the loss of the 3 children from Frankford Elementary School.
Melinda, I'm standing just off Flynn's Creek Road, and in the distance behind me you can see smoke still rising from the scene of this deadly fire. Again, 5 children were killed. An adult victim was found outside of the home. I spoke with a deputy state fire marshal who says that the investigation is actually getting underway today because up until yesterday, it was a recovery mission.
This is a WVVA Toys for Tots.
Good morning, everybody. It's a little cold out here today, but guess what? It's getting hot in regards to our Toys for Tots annual run. We're getting bicycles. We've got even some toddler toys.
The need is still there, right?
Absolutely. The need's still there, but all the boxes are still out. We're still taking donations, and we're still taking phone calls. So if you need toys, need assistance, just call our number, and we'll get you set up for this year.
And everyone falls on hard times. It's understandable. This has been an extremely hard year, especially with the pandemic. So if you need help, don't be afraid to reach out. And please, if you can find it in your heart to give to others in your community, we really need the help this year.